This will defend.
Fly Army.
Above the best.
Links to the site is found on the last page of the program as well as on the monitors next to the stage. The ceremony will begin momentarily.
Good morning, graduates, family members, and guests. On behalf of Major General Claire Gill, Commanding General, United States Army Aviation Center of Excellence in Fort Novosel, welcome to the graduation ceremony for flight school. Would everyone please stand for the invocation and playing of the national anthem? Chaplain Wilson will give our invocation.
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, I thank you, Lord, today, and with a grateful heart, we are graduating these pilots, Lord, to serve their country, to go to places, Lord, to protect our nation. Father, I ask, dear Lord, that you would bless their steps, anoint their careers for your good work. Lord, provide travel and mercies from here to their next location. Father, I ask, dear Lord, that you would bless also their families, their spouses, their parents, for the work that they do, Lord, to support their soldier. They are the Army's unsung hero. It's in your precious and most certainly your holy name I pray these things. Amen.
Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Gentlemen, please remove your headdress. Thank you. You may be seated. Please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Men, Commander of the 1st Battalion, 223rd Aviation Regiment.
Well, good morning, and a warm Alabama aloha to our ohana from Hawaii. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to today's ceremony. Family members, friends, instructors, thank you for your support in commemorating this tremendous occasion. We are delighted you can celebrate with us this morning, and it's a great day for Army Aviation. Attending the ceremony representing the United States Army Aviation Center of Excellence are Chief Warrant Officer 5 Michael Corsaro, Chief Warrant Officer of the Aviation Branch, Colonel Jason Woodward, 1st Aviation Brigade Commander, Colonel Mary Elizabeth Scott, Deputy Assistant Commandant for the United States Army Reserves, Colonel Christopher Logsdon, Deputy Commandant for the Army National Guard and Senior Guard Advisor, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Axtell, 1st of the 145th Aviation Regiment Commander, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Nigel Hebsher, 1st Aviation Brigade Command Chief Warrant Officer, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Ed Carman, Senior Guard Advisor to the Deputy Commanding General of the Army National Guard, Command Sergeant Major John Bonilla, 1st Aviation Brigade, Sergeant Major Julian Adams, 1st of the 145th Aviation Regiment. We would also like to welcome Chief Warrant Officer 5 Patrick Brayman, Standardization Officer for the Directorate of Evaluation and Standardization, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Carl Scott McKenzie, United States Army retired. Thank you all for joining us. To our newest Army aviators, congratulations on achieving a significant milestone. In just a few minutes, your flight school journey will come to an end as your friends and family pin the wings on your chest that you've worked so hard to achieve. I hope they will always remind you of three things: the professional aviators who trained you, the special community you now belong to, and the sacred duty we have to support the ground force. The ground force is depending on you to get them where they need to be, when they need to be there, or to protect them from the enemy. And when you find yourself on the receiving end of a frantic radio call for help, I know you'll respond, moving heaven and earth to help the men and women on the ground, because that's why we exist. That's what Army Aviation is all about, to support the ground force. I'm proud of you and eager to see each of you realize your full potential as Army aviators. Before I introduce our guest speaker, I would like to quickly reiterate the process for pinning our newest aviators. Your aviator will be called forward. He or she will cross the stage, then stand before the stage and await family or friends to come pin on their wings. The master of ceremony will cue you by saying, "Please come forward to pin your aviator." At that time, come forward and pin the wings on your aviator. Take a brief moment to celebrate this momentous occasion before returning to your seats. The stage will be available after graduation for you to take as many additional photographs as you would like. Graduates, this is a defining moment for you and your family, one that you will never forget. Congratulations to all of you. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce the guest speaker for today's graduation ceremony. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Lucas Abelin, is a master aviator with more than 20 years of military service. He began his illustrious service with the military upon entering the Warrant Officer Candidate School in 2003 before entering flight school. He is qualified in the UH-60 Mike Black Hawk helicopter. During his time in the Army, he received numerous awards and decorations for his service and served in many key positions throughout his career, including Air Mission Commander, Air Assault Flight Lead, Instructor Pilot, Standardization Pilot, Platoon Leader, Black Hawk Flight School 21 Executive Officer, United States Army Europe and Africa G3 Aviation Mission Survivability Officer, and Battalion Senior Instructor Pilot and Senior Warrant Officer. He currently serves as a Flight Training Branch Chief for the Directorate of Training and Doctrine here at Fort Novosel. Please help me welcome Chief Warrant Officer 5, Lucas Abelin.
Thank you all, and welcome to Lower Alabama, here to Fort Novosel. So you can't do one of these things without briefly talking about yourself. So at my flight school graduation, I had the distinct honor of having Mike Novosel speak. Now, you may notice that the base is named after him. So there's some superbly qualified aviators around this base that can come up here and talk to you. Today, unfortunately, you get me. It's gonna be okay. So I know you were milling around talking to your family and friends and back, and you saw all the people that came out here to support you. It's a full house. Look at all these people that came to this remote corner of Alabama. They're standing room only in back. There's an enormous amount of support behind you. I suspect these are the people that have supported you the longest, and I can tell you with assurance that the people in back are the ones that are gonna be with you for the length. I know you'll thank them, and trust me when I say they deserve it. Clearly everyone that made you who you are couldn't be here today. No one achieves something like this on their own. Think of all the formative people that got you here. All the people in your life that helped achieve this moment. It's a really long list, isn't it? Family members, teachers, coaches, instructors of every flavor. The people that believed in you early and wrote you letters of recommendation to become Army aviators. There's been so much time, investment, and love poured into all of you. So what I'd ask of you is, after you thank the people that made the trip to come and see you, reach out to some of those folks that were important in your lives that helped to get you here. Do that this weekend. Don't necessarily do it over text or on Facebook. Trust me when I say they want to hear your voice. Give them a call and talk to them. Give them some positive reinforcement and tell them what they meant to you and what you've achieved. They would love to hear from you. I know for many of you in the audience, military heritage runs deep in your families. That's normal. Generally, generational service is common within the military, but military service is uncommon within the United States of America. Very few of our citizens do what you have done. Thank you all for your service, and for those of you in the back who've been there and done that and been to the difficult places, thank you as well for your service. And for many of you back there, this lifestyle is new. Welcome, thank you as well. What I ask of all of you is when you go home, talk about these new aviators. Talk about our wonderful and committed military. Tell the people about what our nation does. Regular folks, they just don't know. They probably don't understand. The Army is very small compared to our nation. The all-volunteer force is drifted away and become isolated from our population. Most Americans, they don't have the ability to come on these bases. We're behind these gates now, and they don't interact with our soldiers. So you're here, please go out throughout our nation and tell them. It's likely you're going to encounter a lot of Americans that just don't know much about the military. So tell them about what you've seen here. Tell them about these wonderful aviators. Inevitably, you're probably going to encounter folks that may have a negative view of the military, and just casually remind them that these folks up front, us in these uniforms, we only do what our nation asks us to do. We only do what our representatives tell us to do. You wearing the civilian clothes and back, we do what you tell us to do. So Army aviation has been around for quite a long time now, over 100 years. We can trace our lineage back to perhaps observation balloons in many of the early conflicts, the Civil War. In the back of our museum here, you can look at Eddie Rickenbacker's World War I Newport. That airplane wasn't suitable for the French, but our Army aviators took that airplane and they became aces with it over the trenches of Europe. The Army Air Corps would go on to play a key and pivotal role destroying true evil again in Europe. In Korea, the helicopter was born, and in Vietnam, truly, the helicopter came into its own. This wonderful Huey over here, the folks in the back that have flown it, they'll tell you there's no fixing that aircraft, it was perfect. These Cobras around us, that little bird, that loach right there, that's our heritage. There's tremendous heritage in what we do, but the true heritage is you all. And when I say this with the utmost conviction. Trust me, you all are the absolute envy of every military in the world. No military has an NCO Corps like we do, an officer corps, and our unique warrant officers. The Vietnam and Cold War pilots trained in my generation, they were the very best, by the way. Now it's your turn to carry that heritage forward. It's a lot to ask, but you're gonna do awesome. You're gonna do great, we know it. Regardless of what you fly, it doesn't matter. Think about our motto. It was said before, but think about this, high above the best. We're above America's sons and daughters. You have that unique privilege. We have a singular focus, and we are so proud of this, to support those folks on the ground. That's our job. Never lose sight of that, ever. We operate in a unique space for a small fraction of history that's been occupied by Army aviators. Not way up in the air, just barely in the air, just barely at the treetop levels, sometimes below the trees, sometimes hovering around, always above the best. So if there's one thing that you can take away from this, if there's one key thing, it's positivity. Whether you're a lieutenant about to take a platoon, whether you're one of our informal leaders, the warrant officers, and you're making your way to pilot in command, air mission commander, I want you to know calm, positive leadership is what soldiers need. That's what we need in the cockpit, and that's what we need in our Army. It's not easy. It doesn't come naturally. It's not easy. So when things get difficult, when it's cold, when it's hot, when it's dusty, and then it starts raining, and somehow the rain starts to make dust, and then when the dust stops, it turns into mud, and then it gets cold and hot again, and you're miserable. That's when that calm, positive leadership comes into play, and you're gonna have to work at it. It's not gonna be easy. The folks in back know. They know what I'm saying is true. going to be difficult. Keep after it. When we go to these combined armor CTC rotations, that's where the difficulty comes out, and that's where you practice. Practice being miserable, perhaps. So it might be cliche, but I keep hearing the same thing over and over again. I've been personally told, and many others in the back have been told as well, by the troops on the ground, by the folks in the tough situations. They say, when things get bad and their back's against the wall, as soon as they hear the rotor blades nearby, the rotor blades of Army Aviation, they know things are about to get better. That's your job now, and it's true. So our former boss, Major General McCurry, said it the best. When that soldier needs to know what's just over the hill, we'll go find out. When that soldier needs to be placed in a better tactical position, we'll put them there. If they're running low on ammunition, we'll deliver it. If that soldier needs extra firepower, we're bringing it. And God forbid if that soldier's wounded on the field of battle, we're coming to get him. And what I know about you, what I know about Army aviators, we don't quit. Thank you. All right, guys and gals, a 10-year service obligation. Don't sweat it. It's gonna go by in a flash, in the blink of an eye. It will go by so fast. The folks in the back, the ones that have been there, they'll tell you. Enjoy it. Find satisfaction in what you do. Be positive. Every day matters. All of us start our lives as civilians, and somehow we're going to wind up as civilians again. So in 10 years, if you decide to go do something else, that's awesome. Go with the pride that you served. Leave on good terms. Never burn bridges. Take the unique skills that you've learned here in the Army and in Army Aviation and go make the United States better, go make the world better. You all have that power. However, if you wake up one day, look in the mirror, wink at yourself, say, I've still got it, hey, maybe you do another 10 years. I'm telling you, the next 10 years after that will be more satisfying and fun than you could ever believe. I know it seems a long way off, but just remember that and think about it. So aviator reputation. The aircraft you fly is more powerful beyond precedent, is reactive beyond precedent, is responsive beyond precedent, and is deadly beyond belief. The situational awareness that this aircraft affords you is unparalleled in history. At a conference recently, there was a lieutenant general, not an aviator, but a true observer of us, a true observer of Army aviators. And he said, aviators are known for their smart alecky nature. The sunglasses, remember that, the sunglasses. The flight suit, you know, with all the extra pockets and the pocket on your thigh with a string in it that we put the thing in, you know what I'm talking about. We will never tell them what goes in there. The cool kit, the jacket, trust me, everybody wants the jacket. Keep a hold of that. But this lieutenant general, he said this with true appreciation for what we add to the fight. And perhaps, you know, maybe a reluctance and an appreciation for Army aviation, Army aviators, and our unique culture. So just know you have a reputation to uphold. Be thoughtful about this. Be cautious with our heritage. Earn that respect. Never be cocky or arrogant. Be measured risk takers. Be audacious and disciplined. Be restrained and ruthless. Know the standard operating procedure like the back of your hand, and know when it's necessary to break the rules. Most importantly, be competent. And trust me when I say this, I've contacted each one of your sergeant majors. I've told them you're coming, and they know that you got to show up with a good pair of sunglasses. Yeah. All right. Be safe, be careful, be dangerous, and be deadly. Be a credible threat and be feared by our nation's enemies. It's a lot to ask from you. You can do it. You're going to amaze us. You make us all so proud. You have the controls. Fly Army, above the best, be all you can be. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Abelin, for your inspiring remarks. At this point in the ceremony, we honor those graduates who've excelled in the course. Graduates who are within the top 20% of their class receive special recognition as Commandant's List graduates, honor graduates, or distinguished graduates. The distinguished graduate is the title bestowed upon those officers who attain the highest overall scholastic average throughout the entire course of instruction. As the title implies, it is the mark of excellence representing outstanding achievement in academic and flight endeavor. The distinguished graduate receives engraved sterling silver wings provided by the Army Aviation Association of America. At this time, I take pleasure in announcing the distinguished graduate for Class 2424. Lieutenant Benjamin Douglas, distinguished graduate. First Lieutenant Douglas is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. We will now recognize the remaining top 20%. Lieutenant Timothy Forkey, honor graduate. First Lieutenant Forkey is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Austin Gonzalez, honor graduate. Second Lieutenant Gonzalez is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Lieutenant Aiden Mosier, honor graduate. First Lieutenant Mosier is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Ian Shelta, honor graduate. First Lieutenant Shelta is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Christopher Umana, honor graduate. First Lieutenant Umana is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Warrant Officer Dustin Flood, honor graduate. W1 Flood is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Jacob McKnight, honor graduate. W1 McKnight is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Sophia Prentice Watson, honor graduate. W1 Prentice Watson is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Akshat Joshi Saha, honor graduate. W1 Joshi Saha is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Now we will recognize the remainder of the class in alphabetical order by rank. Lieutenant Amanda Alvarez Lamela. Second Lieutenant Alvarez Lamela is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the Colorado National Guard. Lieutenant Jacob Becker. First Lieutenant Becker is an active duty CH-47 Fox pilot. Lieutenant Valerie Benora. Second Lieutenant Benora is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Lieutenant Nicholas Chapman. First Lieutenant Chapman is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Nathan Cooper. Second Lieutenant Cooper is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the California National Guard. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Lieutenant Alexandria Delgado. Second Lieutenant Delgado is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the Arkansas National Guard. Lieutenant William Irwin, Jr. First Lieutenant Irwin is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Edworth Espinoza Garcia. Second Lieutenant Espinoza Garcia is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Lieutenant Thomas Geary. Second Lieutenant Geary is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the North Dakota National Guard. Lieutenant Anna Lee. First Lieutenant Lee is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Lieutenant Daniel Page, Jr. First Lieutenant Page is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Jessica Powell. Second Lieutenant Powell is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the Kansas National Guard. Lieutenant Grace Schwab. Second Lieutenant Schwab is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Lieutenant Thomas Stout. Second Lieutenant Stout is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the Kentucky National Guard. Lieutenant James Terry. Second Lieutenant Terry is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the Minnesota National Guard. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Lieutenant Mark Tigges. First Lieutenant Tigas is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Emma Vender. First Lieutenant Vender is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Lieutenant Jacob Withers. First Lieutenant Withers is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Warrant Officer Antonio Cook. W1 Cook is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Bryce Curtis. W1 Curtis is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Warrant Officer Nicholas Doré. W1 Doré is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Warrant Officer Randall Davis. W1 Davis is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Adam Denna. W1 Denna is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Warrant Officer Paul Drake. W1 Drake is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Warrant Officer Joseph Franklin. W1 Franklin is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Warrant Officer Blaine Hall. W1 Hall is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Warrant Officer Eli Hernandez. W1 Hernandez is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Corbin Hillman. W1 Hillman is a CH-47 Fox pilot with the Alabama National Guard. Warrant Officer Haley Johnson. W1 Johnson is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Michael Kamikawa. W1 Kamikawa is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the Hawaii National Guard. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Warrant Officer Eric Kanthak, Jr. W1 Kanthak is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Kyle Kelly. W1 Kelly is a UH-60 Mike pilot with the Nebraska National Guard. Warrant Officer Dustin Lee. W1 Lee is an AH-64 Echo pilot with the North Carolina National Guard. Warrant Officer Jalen Moore. W1 Moore is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Warrant Officer Aaron Perot. W1 Perot is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Warrant Officer Stephen T. II. W1T is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Eric Thompson. W1 Thompson is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Daniel Tilton. W1 Tilton is an active duty AH-64 Echo pilot. Warrant Officer Tyler Todd. W1 Todd is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Wade Townsend. W1 Townsend is an active duty UH-60 Mike pilot. Warrant Officer Matthew White. W1 White is an active duty UH-60 mic pilot. Please come forward and pin your aviator. Graduates, please stand. Please join me in a round of applause for the Army's newest aviation warfighters. Would everyone please stand or remain standing for the playing of the Aviation song, Above the Best, and the Army song, The Army Goes Rolling Along. ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the graduation ceremony. Thank you for celebrating with us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Class leader, please dismiss the class.